Welcome to Powered by Her, exploring the stories of how area women power their business. Here, from the growing network of female entrepreneurs of the Upper Cumberland, with your host Tiffany Ann Todd, director of Biz Foundry. Powered by Her starts now.
Hi, this is Tiffany Ann Todd from the Biz Foundry, and you're listening to Powered by Her in the Hinton Oakley Podcast Center. I have two amazingly clean women in today. Not that most people aren't clean that come into the studio, but that's kind of your thing, your shtick, if you will. I have Sara McKinley and Susan Seabold in today. Hi, ladies.
Hey there.
Thanks for joining me. So, you, Sara, started a product line.
Yes.
Waterloo Girls.
Yes, with my sister-in-law.
Of cleaning products.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Susan, you started a home organization company business.
Yes.
Simple Home,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys decided to kind of merge together and create Total Takeover.
Taking over all the homes.
Something like that. So first, Sara, I want to start with you. So you are not from here?
No, I am from San Antonio.
So you grew up in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and as a child growing up in Texas, what did you think you were going to do in life?
Well, you know, when you're like second grade, you'll get like they'll send home a coloring sheet and you have to color what you're going to be when you grow up. Okay. Well, I wanted to be a flight attendant.
Okay.
So a server, I guess.
So, okay. So do you think that it was more because you wanted to travel and be everywhere all the time, or do you think you did want to serve others?
I think serve others.
Yeah. Well, and you have that really caring, compassionate heart for others of doing good. And so do you think as when you were in high school and kind of thinking about, okay, what am I going to do after high school? What was your career path or thoughts then?
I had no clue.
Did you ever think that you would have a business or you'd be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely not. I mean, this has totally taken me by surprise what's happened in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it just kind of all happened just organically, I guess. It kind of blows my mind how it's all happened.
Well, and then this is a really nice time to kind of reflect on that and think of where, because you get so involved in your business and then you don't take the time to think, oh my gosh, look how far I've come and look, so what brought you to this area?
Well, my husband's family is from here. He never lived here, but when we started dating, he asked me to come hiking with him here in Tennessee. So he brought me to Cookeville for about 3 weeks, and I just fell in love with it. So we got back to San Antonio, and I just could not get this place out of my head. And we were packed up in his SUV within 6 months and just sold my car and put everything we had in his car and moved up here.
And you kind of have that hippie kind of holistic kind of way, right? I mean,
a little bit.
That's not a bad thing. You're just more of not. This seems to fit your personality more than a big city.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yes. I need some space.
Yeah, and fresh air and.
Mm-hmm. But this town is different because the university's here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this whole different feel to it.
But you live a little bit out of town. And so you have some land and you had a daughter here. And so you kind of set down roots and you were kind of just doing the stay-at-home mom thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you felt drawn to find some supplemental income for your family.
Well, what happened was my daughter started going to school 2 days a week. And my sister-in-law had started a cleaning service. And she just asked me one day if I wanted to help and make some extra money. And I was like, sure. And then it just kind of happened from there.
Snowballed.
Yeah, because then somebody else asked us, oh, well, will you clean my house? Oh, will you do this? And then before I knew it, we had average about 10 houses a week. And so that's where the cleaning supplies came in.
So you at first just kind of thought, I'll get into this as something to do while my daughter's
just a little extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to go work out, take River to school, and then pick her up and just have a little bit of income in between. And it wasn't getting in the way of anything else I wanted to do.
At that time, do you think you were having a hard time thinking you were a working mom? Because I think that's something that when we're transitioning from a stay-at-home mom to a working mom, I don't know that women give themselves enough credit to say, I am now working, even though it's a little bit in part-time. It's just a change. And do you think you were did you struggle during that time at all?
When she first went to school, you mean?
Yeah, of just balancing, like, okay, I'm working a little bit.
No, because I was trying to fill that time. I just don't have that personality to sit home and watch TV. Like,
well, and it was still on your terms. You were still doing the things you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So where did this creating a product, which, I mean, there's a lot that goes into an actual product that you're selling. So where did that come from?
So we had been cleaning for a while at this point, and we were cleaning and using our clients' products, whatever they had on hand. And as we got bigger and bigger and bigger, I just started noticing like headaches, and I just wasn't feeling well.
The hippie-ish side of yourself started
like
looking
you're breathing these chemicals in when you're in a closed-in space like a shower, like, and if you clean your own shower, like, I clean mine once a week, but I would say the average person probably every 2 weeks. You're not going to notice it as much. But if you're cleaning like 3 showers a day and you're breathing that in. So I talked to my sister-in-law about it when we were on our way home, and I had a headache. And she was like, well, why don't we clean with vinegar and water? And she's like, that's what the old timers used to do. And so we started it, and it really wasn't a hit because if you don't clean with vinegar, like it's a little overwhelming.
The smell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's when the essential oils came into play because my sister-in-law had just got into essential oils. So she was like, well, let me play around with it a little bit. So every day at work, she would bring something like, test this. Do you like this? Do you like this? And then I remember what the client's house that we were at when I was like, I love this. This is it.
Yeah.
This is totally it. And so we were cleaning all of the houses with it. And then another client of ours is the one that gave us the idea. She goes, you should bottle this and sell it. And then
And what year was that? Do you remember?
Okay, so we've officially been a business it was 3 years in January.
And I remember, and you did not go to college to run a business or learn the business aspects of things. And I remember times where you kind of came to me, I think I might do this thing. And how did you figure out how to learn all the things about selling a product that you needed to know? That seems crazy, the amount of work that you had to do.
I don't know. It was all just trial and error and talking to different people like you or talking to Susan or just talking to friends, talking to family.
And getting that support to kind of boost.
Talking to other friends that were like branching out, doing things.
Did you have to research like what kind of bottles are best and what we want to use?
Oh, yeah. It was like months and months and months of work before we even
of research.
Before we even
put it out there.
Yeah, put it even in a bottle to sell.
Yeah.
And we were doing it on just our dollar. We didn't get a loan. We didn't use credit cards. So every little thing all right, we have enough money. Let's buy this. All right, let's do this. All right, let's work with these artists to get our label done.
So were you thinking at one point, okay, well, I started cleaning houses so that I could get some extra income, and now all my extra income is going to this business. Was that, did you doubt yourself during that time? Did you think, man, I'm losing all this extra income that I wanted. This was not my plan.
Yes and no.
You saw you saw the end result.
Well, I believed in it.
Yeah.
If it was something else, like, but like I that's all I use at my house is my stuff, and I believe what we use.
Yeah. So you had to learn how to put it on. You sell online, so you had a website that.
We have a website now. We're on Etsy. We're in a couple of little stores. We're in a local grocery store up in Lebanon.
I mean, those business aspects. Did you have a business mentor that would kind of help you through that step by step, or you just kind of taught yourselves?
Well, my sister-in-law and we make a great team in that. In fact, she started taking business classes, And she started going to Vol State. She's like, I'm just going to go take a couple of classes. And now she has done so well. She has gotten an academic scholarship, and she's going to get her bachelor's in business.
Well, and there was one semester where
I did. I was like, I'm going to do this. And then that semester almost killed me. I passed my classes, but I said, this is too much.
Do you think, why did you choose what was the motivation for going to classes? This is probably a little deep for you, but
I never finished college, and it's bothered me.
And I think as maybe not just women, but people feel that pressure that you have to.
Yes.
And I've just talked to a couple different entrepreneurs lately that one gentleman said he was a high school dropout, and he's running a successful trucking company north of here, and the guy has an 8th grade education.
Oh, wow.
And so, but especially as women, we feel like, well, they have a degree, this man has a degree, and he makes X amount of dollars, so I probably need to go do that just to have somebody else tell me my value. Do you think that you've kind of figured out your worth without that piece of paper?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, well, I think
I get a lot of encouragement from my husband.
Would you say he's your biggest motivator or biggest champion?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and I think you have a daughter too. So
Yes.
having a business and showing her what entrepreneurship looks like is probably pretty empowering as well.
She's a huge cheerleader. She's put our Simple Home card in her like clear notebook, like for school when, she's
trying to
rooting for
find some
Mom.
clients there at school.
Oh, she draws pictures of us cleaning or organizing.
Yeah.
So she's definitely rooting.
And we all have daughters in this,
Yes.
in this room. There's a lot of estrogen in our homes.
Yes.
So Susan, let's kind of turn to you for a little bit. So you kind of had a very different path from Sara when we were just talking about the education factor of things. So you went to optometry school.
Right. I'm using that completely now.
Right. Which maybe that's some motivation for Sara to say, I don't need to waste my time or money to get a piece of paper.
God doesn't waste anything, so we're using it. I do want to speak to that. As you guys were speaking, the importance of all of us kind of staying in our own lane and running our own races. Like, I don't think we need to look to anybody else's lives to like, oh, well, they're successful in that way, or they're doing this and this. I just think that we've all got our own call, our own purpose that we're placed here for. And the only place that we're going to find happiness is going to be, in our own lane and running our own race. So, not everybody's called to go to college, or receive that degree.
In case you're just joining us, we have Sara McKinley and Susan Seabold with Waterloo Girls and Simple Homes in the Hinton Oakley Podcast Center, and you're listening to Powered by Her. So, Susan, you are from this area.
Yes.
And you grew up here. And so as a kid, what did you, I'm guessing you thought maybe you were going to be an optometrist. What did you think as a girl, as, a second grader, when Sara's drawing a flight attendant? What are you drawing?
I think I did want to be a doctor of some kind.
Yeah. You had a white coat on.
White coat. I remember a conversation when I was in college with my grandfather and my mom. We were at lunch, and I was given about 4 different career paths to choose from. From your
grandfather and your mom, they said pick one.
And they were going to help me in all ways to help make that happen, and they did. Like I said, this was something, from a small age, I think I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But our plans aren't always what God's got planned for us. So.
Well, and you're a dreamer.
Yeah.
And you like to, you had a stint where you were getting certified in yoga. And so you were going to be a yoga instructor for a little while. And so you kind of done some things just to explore your career options.
What kind of a huge, massive, change in our lives when Gretchen, which was my second child, was born. There was a complication with her birth. So we had moved back to Cookeville, been gone for about 10 years, ready to take over practice in Livingston. There was a doctor retiring there. I'm going to do that after my maternity leave. Well, there was a complication with the C-section. And that led to surgeries throughout the next 5 years. So really just tried to make the best out of the situation that we had. And so I was limited in a lot of the activities I could do just because of my health. But we felt led to homeschool. So we homeschooled for a while. I volunteered at the Children's Museum, did some storytelling there. Was at Peachtree, creative movement instructor for a little bit, so I did some really fun things during that time.
Do you think in that time were you trying to just fill your time, or were you trying to find what do you want to be when you quote unquote grow up?
I wanted to be a light wherever I was.
Yeah.
And I love helping people. And so if there was a need and if I felt like
you could
actually a lot of times I did not feel equipped, but just kind of took those steps of faith, like, okay, God's going to give it to me.
Where do you think you got that motivation to feel like, and I know that's a huge struggle for women, is that I'm not good enough to do X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely times where I think, how am I hosting a podcast?
Yeah.
And so where did you get that push to say, no, let's just go do this and try it and see how I can help and be a light?
I really think it was just my faith.
Yeah.
And trying to listen to what God's plan was for me and taking those faith steps and continue to do that daily. I mean, again, like throughout the last year and kind of the transitions that I've seen in life and the growth with Simple Home and taking on another role with Rodan & Field skincare, I'm consultant there, just really like taking faith steps daily.
Yeah. And just making sure that you, were there doubts in your faith?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, doubts in myself. And do I really have what I need to do these things? Yeah. Even to sit here right now, like. So you're kind of just volunteering, homeschooling, don't have a set quote unquote career again. And I know this, all three of us in this room have been stay-at-home moms at some points in our lives and just really struggle with like, what's our greater purpose? Is there more? Is this okay with what I'm doing? Is this quote unquote enough again? So you're, doing the mom thing, taking care of kids, but then also kind of putting your services where they can be. And at some point you realized you were no longer going to be married and you needed to find a career path and you needed to find a way to support yourself and your children. I think the big lesson in all that was I needed to learn that my value was not what I was doing. That's not how I was valued as a person. It's, who I was inside and who I was created to be. That's where my true value was. And I really think in order to go out and really even find true happiness in life, we need to learn that lesson. Like, in order to be a blessing to anybody else, we need to embrace who we are.
And you realized that you had a passion and knack for helping people organize their homes. And it started with just kind of like, I'm going to do kind of a closet organization. And this has been something in the works for you for a while now. I remember again, you coming to me and talking to me about things 2 years ago now of just, okay, I want to launch this business and I'm going to help people organize themselves. And so you kind of were, I think for you, it was kind of figuring out where your lane was a little bit. You mentioned staying in your lane. And so you were kind of figuring out where your lane was and how you could be impactful, but then actually support yourself in a business as well. And so you kind of started doing this a little bit on the side. You again started, you're a dreamer and you were teaching at your kids' school for a little while as well. And you and Sarah, what happened? What was that like? Sarah,
Well, we had worked on a project several years. What year was that?
Goodness. Whenever they redid the Children's Museum, just completely shut it down.
2016, I think.
And I'm trying to even remember because Elizabeth was the director at the time, and they were cleaning it out and organizing it. And I think I said, "Oh, I'd love to help organize. I love organizing." And then she was
some of the storytelling there.
And so she's like, "Well, Susan's going to help too." I think that's how, right? So we both show up, and it was just it was just cool because we
and
just
you knew
flowed.
each other before.
We did,
but
we were
you
already
probably
friends.
didn't know
No.
clean niche.
We hadn't worked in that way. And
Never.
so just like as we do a simple home, it's so cool how we've been placed together. We said we've equated it to this. If we were putting a puzzle together, Sarah would be gathering all the blue pieces and I'd be putting the puzzle together over here. So
Yeah.
we just flowed and we didn't have to talk about, oh, well, what do we weren't even speaking as we were working.
Yeah.
It was just
We didn't even devise it. We just dove in and it just
worked.
it was awesome. It was awesome.
So at that point, did you guys kind of know this is somebody I want to work with later and let's figure out? Or was it just kind of like, let's just put that in the back of our mind and we'll come back to that later?
Well, I think we said, oh man, we need to
just in a joking way.
start a business organizing.
And here we are.
Which neither of you at that time were thinking about starting a business or
No.
Well, I was cleaning at that time and,
Yeah.
and working on Waterloo Girls. So
so you thought, well, this might be a resource.
it just wasn't the timing.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't timing yet. But
Right.
then last Christmas, it was the last day of school before we got up for Christmas break, and she came up to me. We were helping with the little class parties, and she's like, "Let's have lunch." And so
you knew you wanted to pull her in.
I was hoping she'd be open to it. And then on the back end, as we got to talking, I found out she'd been praying about it.
I had been literally praying
About a different opportunity or
about specifically us coming together.
Yeah. Because I love organizing. It's just part of me. I would get in trouble when I was little for like going in my mom's room and like organizing her drawers and just,
Mm-hmm.
And do you think have you passed that on to your
No.
to River? No, River.
I'm trying to teach her.
I have one that's on my side.
One organizer and two not.
One with me and two against us.
So it's Christmas time and you think, okay, we're gonna launch this together. We're gonna.
Well, she had already started it.
But
yeah.
you kind of. Did you feel like there was a churn in Simple Home at that time? That
Absolutely.
It was, and tell me about that.
So, I was in the midst of, I was separated from my husband and, we've moved on to, we're divorced now and going through all those transitions and really thinking, what does this look like, in time and how am I going to provide for my family? But also, who wants to go to work daily and not love what you do? And so really searching like, what are my gifts? What are things that I can bless people with and truly go out and do daily and love what I'm doing? And I love working with, that's one of the best parts is working with an awesome friend. We have so much fun.
Well, and I'm going to be a little real and raw right now.
Yeah.
So as a single mother, as I am as well, you need to find a way to provide for your family financially. But you also need to make sure that you're providing for your family emotionally. Mm-hmm. And so, and just kind of being there and being able to meet their needs. And so there's a lot to that, going back to a 9-to-5 kind of job, going back to an optometrist. Could you imagine that, Susan? Like,
there's more than people. I've had so many people come up to me and say, well, you're an optometrist. So just, just start practicing. Mm-hmm. Well, here we are all of these years later. And I would need to go back. I could. But then I question.
Right.
This is an excellent time to really just reflect during this transition and find what I truly love and what I'm really called to do.
Well, and I think being in a job, like you said, that makes you happy. I've kind of always said my kids need a mom that's the best mom I can be.
Yes.
And if you're, being a doctor or in the medical field, that takes a lot out of you. And I don't think as women, it would be tough to give to a medical, give to your patients and then still have enough to give to your kids.
I really think it all comes down to finding a job that you're called to do that fills you up, that isn't draining. I feel like when you are in your lane, when you're running your own race, where you're purpose to be, your job doesn't drain you. It gives you energy.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's all about that. And then, in this year, I've given up teaching because last year being pulled between Simple Home and trying to teach, I was not coming home in that awesome emotional place and able to be the best mom that I wanted to be to my kids. So that's a change that I've made this year exactly for that reason. So.
And I think, for me, I think probably people can relate to this a little bit. When I was finally able to go after the quarantine and all the COVID stuff, and I finally got to go back to my office and sit in my office. I have 2 wall of windows at my office, and I just felt so good. It felt so, it's like, okay, I can finally fill back up my cup.
We are workers. I do not sit still at home. She doesn't either. And so absolutely felt the same way. Like we couldn't wait to get back to work and just doing it again.
Yeah. So have there been any times between Waterloo Girls or Simple Home that you thought this isn't going to work and I need to pivot and change my course? Either of you? Sarah, you kind of touched on it already that you felt like I really believe in this product and I'm going to keep going. Even if it's my own personal money I'm investing into this, I really believe in this. Mm-hmm. So, were there times...
it almost feels like I only have one child, but it almost feels like I've got another baby I got to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And I love them both equally.
We've talked about having a business is like having a baby and how there's different phases and people think, oh, the baby phase is really great. But then they're talking during the toddler phase. So in the development phase, and you still remember the day that you found the scent, the smell, the ingredients that were right. How does that compare to the day that you actually put the label on the bottle and put it out there for the public to see and feel? Was one better, one worse, one?
Putting the label on and putting it out there was definitely more scary than knowing this is it.
Yeah.
Because I love it, and you've got to realize that not everyone's going to love what you love.
Well, people don't always love your kids either. Right?
Yeah.
So it's very, there's a lot of similarities. And so it's been 3 years now? 3 years?
We've been working on the project Waterloo Girls for over 4 years, though, definitely.
Yeah. So you're kind of in the almost about to start kindergarten phase of your... So what do you think is the next step for Waterloo Girls?
We're working on some things right now, and they're going to, they're pretty pricey. And so...
different products?
Well, in order to get into major chain grocery stores. And we'd like to get it tested by some bigger names. And we just have some big goals for 2021.
Does that surpass anything you could have ever imagined for this?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
at what point did you think maybe this is going to be bigger than, did you think when you started, okay, we're going to test this, we're going to develop a product, did you think, I'm going to sell to my friends and sell in Cookeville and maybe do some farmers markets in the Upper Cumberland? Or at that time, did you think, no, I want to be in stores. I want to be in major chain grocery stores.
Not at first did we think chain grocery stores, but as we've been in this for years now, and my sister-in-law has really dove into her business classes, and we just keep seeing this could be huge. This could be family.
Yeah.
Something I could pass down to,
yes.
My child. She could pass it down to her children.
Yeah. And do you think, is that scary?
Yeah, but it's super cool.
Yeah. So you're leaning into the entrepreneurship and embracing being a business owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really helps having a great partner with both of them, because you're going to have days when you don't
want to get up and keep going.
Yeah. You're like, let's just quit. Mm-hmm. But then you're like, why am I quitting? I have 2 years
Yeah,
it's a lot of time to throw away,
invested into something. Yeah.
So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Well, and especially like the product, like you said, you really believe in what you're doing. And so what made you kind of shift from cleaning homes to then organizing? So Simple Home is not a cleaning business.
No.
It's a home organization. And I'm sure, Susan, just knowing you, the thought is to give people an organized space that just can spill over into just how they are. I tell my daughter all the time, like, she's 10, she never wants to clean her room. And I'm like, don't you feel good though when it's organized? Don't you feel good when there's not stuff on the floor? And so why choose to do organization instead of cleaning?
Honestly, it's with Simple Home, it's so much more than, like you were saying, it's not about the stuff. And I think that probably every single client I think I've probably stood in their home and cried with them because it just goes so much deeper. And our motivation and our goal behind it is just to love people through our giftings and provide them a home that is peaceful. You go out into the world, it's chaotic, it's crazy. You're busy all day long. You want to come home to a place that's just peaceful, not cluttered all over the place, not piles, looking everywhere. I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. And once you get everything organized and it has a home, it's simply just kind of maintaining that. And you come home and this is your place of peace. So that's really been our goal. And what we'd love to give clients with Simple Home.
What do you think, Sarah? Do you feel like you miss that just kind of cleaning, scrubbing element of things? Or do you like kind of that? I mean, you said that you would organize your mom's drawers.
I think me cleaning the home served its purpose, because if I didn't start there, the product would have never been developed. But through that, I love seeing a room of chaos and just digging in and putting things in its place. I want, cleaning is part of it, but I want to put it away pretty.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you're kind of like a local hoarders? Like, the show, like that you go in and you can kind of like declutter, get rid of,
I feel like we can walk into a room like that and we see the end before we've begun. Whereas a lot of people would walk in and just become completely paralyzed by it. So again, that's just, how we're built, how we're made, and putting that to use.
It's like us looking at, like we were talking about a puzzle, like it's like 1,000 pieces. And granted, it's going to be work, but like she said, we see the end picture. Like, so it's awesome.
A lot of fun.
In case you're just joining us, you're listening to Powered by Her in the Hinson Oakley Podcast Center. I have Sara McKinley and Susan Seabold, clean guru girls. Can we say that? That sounds good. With Waterloo Girls and Simple Home. Sarah, some of the scary parts, I think, of entrepreneurship is either going it alone or finding a business partner. And you've chosen to be involved in 2 businesses with 2 different business partners.
Yes.
Can you, and one is your family and one is a good friend, which people probably say don't do either though. So can you speak on why does that work for you?
With my sister-in-law, it works. Granted, I mean, any relationship, you're going to butt heads every now and then. But she and I work great together because in the end, it's our family.
You see that?
That's our why is our family. We see our kids, With Susan, I mean, it's just this great friend. I've never in my 41 years have I had a friend who is nerdy as me about organizing. Like, we literally have so much fun. Like, let's go. Like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
But that's why we fit.
You're alike enough. Is there boundaries that you, and don't look at Susan, don't feel pressure, but are there boundaries that you feel like you need to put in place or that you've learned in the last couple of years that are boundaries that are keeping your businesses in a healthy place?
Well, with Susan, yes, because her family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that. So, I don't.
It's a little bit different for the situation between you than her as a single mom.
Meaning that, like, I know her heart is in her family. My heart is in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we respect each other in that sense of, okay, like, just like with even scheduling.
I was thinking to that. Just
even scheduling. Like, she needs more time with this, or I need more time, and we both like respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a point where you think, because you're both really passionate about what you're doing, is there a point where it's like, well, wait, I don't want to lose this client because of her scheduling, or either has that been a difficult balance?
We had to bridge that a little bit. There's been a couple times when Sarah might work solo or I work solo, just to meet the needs of a client, when we were maybe pulled in a different direction. But most of the time, really just a couple times. I prefer to, when we came back together, it's like, I missed you so much.
Yeah.
And, we just complement each other so well. And I feel like we do a better job when we're together.
Yeah.
So.
What's your favorite strength about Susan, Sarah?
With the organizing,
Mm-hmm.
I just love giving it to her to make it pretty. So
you're more systematic and she's more pretty kind of thing.
I like to do a lot of the purging.
She's excellent at purging.
So it's like okay, this is what I have for you. Now you figure out how it's going to all fit in that
or
space.
Or the teeny tiny tidbits.
And then,
she's awesome at teeny tiny tidbits. So.
Or and then sometimes we'll find like an extra one. I'm like, all right, I'm about to throw you a curveball, and she can always handle it.
Like, you're messing up my puzzle here.
So what's your favorite thing about Sarah?
Exactly that. She is so good at, like, when we've got a junk drawer, like those teeny tiny she's so detailed. So, and she talked about doing the jewelry, her mom's jewelry. And still to this day, like when we've got a client's jewelry box or, those just tiny things. We did a child's room, and how all those tiny, small little like toys. Oh my gracious. So, she flew through those. And she is such a support to me. Just on a friendship level, like, just daily.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it without her. So
that's good.
We're a great team.
How can people find you guys? So you mentioned, Sarah, that Waterloo Girls is on Etsy. You have a website. What's your website?
WaterlooGirlsNaturalCleaner.com. We set up at locally grown farmers market and the downtown Green Market. So you can find us there too.
And do you have social media?
Yes, we're on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. And Susan, how can people find Simple Home?
Simple Home, primarily we're out there on social media. So Instagram, Simple Home OCD, and then Facebook the same.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So if people want to connect, they can find you guys that way. Mm-hmm. Anything, what's next steps for, you kind of mentioned Sarah getting into larger chain stores. What do you see next for Simple Home besides just kind of organizing?
We spoke about it, and I would really, really be excited to have a brick and mortar, something up and coming and in time. Of course, we're in people's homes doing things, but I just really feel like that would help to increase our presence within the community, and even what we could offer to the community, and having some just really fun organizational tools and things like that within the store. So that's kind of a hope and a dream, since I'm the dreamer.
Probably.
For someday.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. It was great to have you.
Thank you,
Thank
Tiffany.
you.
You've been listening to Powered by Her. Download your favorites and keep up with new episodes in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center.